In the digital age, freedom of speech has taken center stage. This era, marked by the rise of social media platforms, has revolutionized the way we communicate, share ideas, and express our views. Yet, with this digital transformation comes a myriad of challenges. The age-old debate surrounding freedom of speech has been rekindled, now with an added layer of complexity. In this digital realm, social media platforms have become the new town squares, the venues where public opinion is formed and influenced. But who gets to decide what is said in these squares? Where do we draw the line between censorship and moderation? And what role should private companies like Twitter play in this? Misinformation, the spread of false news, and hate speech are some of the pressing issues that have spurred debates worldwide. Questions about the role of private companies in moderating content and their power over what is shared on their platforms are becoming more and more crucial. In the next few minutes, we'll dive into a recent controversy that encapsulates these issues. We'll delve into the feud between SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. This feud serves as a microcosm, highlighting the complexities of freedom of speech in the digital age. As we delve into the feud between Elon Musk and Alexandre de Moraes, we will explore these themes in depth. When two giants clash, the world watches. Enter Elon Musk and Alexandre de Moraes. Let's take a moment to introduce these key players and set the stage for the spectacle that is their feud. Elon Musk, the audacious billionaire, is known as the CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and several other innovative enterprises. A man who exudes controversy as much as he does creativity, Musk is no stranger to the limelight, often finding himself in the midst of heated debates and exchanges. On the other side, we have Alexandre de Moraes, a distinguished figure in Brazilian politics, serving as a justice of the Supreme Court. Known for his stern approach to justice and unyielding stance on constitutional rights, de Moraes has grown into a formidable force within Brazil's legal landscape. Now imagine these two titans crossing paths. That's exactly what happened. The feud between Musk and de Moraes started over the blocking of certain Twitter accounts in Brazil, a decision taken by de Moraes that didn't sit well with Musk. The tech mogul, known for his staunch defense of free speech, accused de Moraes of betraying the Brazilian constitution. The dispute quickly escalated as Musk refused to comply with the court's decision, leading to a series of investigations and legal actions against him. But it wasn't just about Twitter accounts. The feud highlighted a broader debate about free speech, content moderation, and the role of social media platforms in shaping public discourse. Musk's actions were seen by some as a defense of free speech principles, while others criticized him for potentially aiding an anti-democratic faction and undermining nuanced discussions about online speech. In the midst of this, Musk's approach towards Brazil starkly contrasted with his stance in other countries, particularly China, stirring further controversy. This inconsistency added another layer of complexity to the dispute, making it a truly global spectacle. With the stage set, let's delve into the specifics of this intriguing feud. A tweet. That's all it took to ignite a feud that would shake the digital world. It all started with Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire, CEO of SpaceX, Tesla, and the man behind the social media platform X. Known for his unorthodox approach to business and a penchant for pushing boundaries, Musk found himself at odds with Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. The bone of contention? A series of Twitter accounts. These accounts, linked to spreading questionable information during election times, were ordered by the court to be blocked. However, Musk, the champion of free speech, refused to comply, lifting the restrictions placed on these accounts. The move was bold, even by Musk's standards, and it drew the ire of Justice de Moraes. In response, de Moraes opened an investigation into Musk for obstruction of justice, criminal organization, and incitement to crime. It was a clear message: the Brazilian judiciary was not going to be pushed around. Yet, Musk remained defiant. He accused de Moraes of betraying the Brazilian constitution and refused to back down, despite the looming threats of fines and further investigations. It was a classic Musk move, prioritizing principles over profit, even when those principles were under scrutiny. But as Musk dug his heels in, so did Moraes. The justice was unyielding in his pursuit of accountability, and the stage was set for a colossal showdown. Both parties were committed to their cause, and neither showed signs of backing down. The feud had officially begun. A Silicon Valley titan versus a Brazilian Supreme Court justice. A struggle for power, principles, and the very essence of free speech in the digital age. Little did they know, this was only the beginning. As the world watched, the feud between Musk and Moraes continued to escalate. The Brazilian Supreme Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes, was not one to back down easily. In response to Musk's defiance, he opened a separate investigation into the tech mogul for obstruction of justice, criminal organization, and incitement to crime. Musk, on the other hand, remained unyielding. Despite court orders, threats, and even fines, he refused to back down, lifting the restrictions on the Twitter accounts in question. This act of defiance was a clear indication of Musk's stance on principles over profit. It was a stance that had been seen before in his history of pushing back against government orders in other countries. But with each passing day, the criticisms against Musk grew louder. Some pointed out that his actions were not helping the situation, but rather aiding an anti-democratic far-right faction. Others highlighted the inconsistency in his stance on free speech. Musk's defense of the restricted accounts, backed by the Brazilian far-right, was in stark contrast to his compliance with speech restrictions in other countries. The critics argued that Musk's actions were undermining nuanced debates on free speech and content moderation. They pointed out that while he was standing up against what he saw as censorship in Brazil, he was remarkably silent in China, where he had significant business interests. There, he complied with strict government regulations on free speech, likely due to his ties to Tesla's gigafactory near Shanghai. The feud had reached a boiling point. But what were the implications? The feud between Musk and Moraes was not just a personal dispute, it had far-reaching implications. This feud brought to light the complexities of freedom of speech, especially in the digital age. It raised questions on the role of private companies in moderating content, and the influence of individuals who hold significant power in these companies. The digital landscape is a new frontier for freedom of speech. With social media platforms becoming the modern public square, who gets to decide what can and cannot be said? Is it the government, the private companies who own these platforms, or the users themselves? Musk's refusal to comply with the Brazilian Supreme Court's order to block certain accounts highlights this dilemma. It's a bold move, challenging the authority of a national institution, but it also raises concerns about potential abuses of power. One of the key implications of this feud is the role of private companies in moderating content. The question is not only about what should be allowed on these platforms, but also who gets to make those decisions. Should it be the government, as in the case of Brazil's Supreme Court? Or should it be the private companies themselves who may have their own vested interests? This is a complex issue with no easy answers. Another key implication is Musk's stance on principles over profit. Despite facing investigation and potential fines, Musk chose to stand by his principles. He defended these controversial accounts, arguing that blocking them would be a betrayal of the Brazilian constitution. His actions demonstrate a willingness to push back against government orders, even at the risk of his own business interests. However, this stance has been called into question. Critics argue that Musk's defense of these accounts is inconsistent, pointing out his compliance with speech restrictions in other countries. They suggest that his actions may be more about defending speech that aligns with his interests, rather than a principled stance on free speech. This feud also highlights the power of individuals like Musk, who hold significant influence in the tech industry. Their decisions can have far-reaching impacts, not only on their own companies, but on society as a whole. This power comes with a responsibility to consider the broader implications of their actions. And so, the feud between Musk and Moraes continues to unfold. As we watch, we are reminded of the importance of freedom of speech and the complexities of maintaining it in the digital age. As this story continues to evolve, it serves as a reminder of the ongoing challenges we face in navigating the intersection of technology, freedom of speech, and power in the digital age.